This is the box method. Last class, we learned our X method. So we use our X method when A is equal to 1. An example would be, we have 1x squared plus something. Next, we use our box method when A is greater than 1. So an example would be 3x squared plus something, or we could have a 4x squared. We need to know that this is ax squared. So whenever this number, which is our coefficient, when our coefficient is greater than 1, we use the box method. Our formula for the box method is we are going to draw a box. We are going to split it up into 4 equal parts. And in this upper left-hand corner, we are going to put ax squared. And in this lower right corner, we're going to have c. Though that ax squared and c, that comes from my standard equation. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So now let's look at an example. So we look here, we see we have 3x squared. That means my a is greater than 1. So we're going to use the box method. Let's draw our box. Up here, we're going to put ax squared. So that comes out to 3x squared. And in our bottom right corner, we put c. That is a -3. Now we look, we have 2 blank spots. Something and something goes there. We do not know what goes there yet. So we are going to have a little help from our X method. Remember, on top, we have a times c. A times c is going to be 3 times a -3, which gives us -9. And then I have my b. My b value is going to be -8. A, B, and C. So now we're thinking, what 2 numbers multiply to -9 and add to a -8? We think really hard and come up with -9 and a +1. So that means in this box over here, we are now going to use x, or 1x, and then we have -9x. And the reason why it is x is because we have 1x minus 9x is equal to 8x. That is why we add an x here. So next part of box method is we are going to look at these x values here. For 1x is positive. So we are going to pull out a positive on top. We look at our -9x, it is negative. So we're pulling out a negative number. Then I'm going to look at my first column. Columns are up and down. So 3x squared and 9x, my GCF is going to be 3x. If I look at my second column, 1x and 3, my GCF is a 1. After that, I look at my first row, 3x squared and 1x. My GCF is an x. And I look at my second column, my GCF is a 3. Therefore, my factored form is our 3x plus 1. And we have x minus 3. This would be our answer. Now, if you don't like the box method, then there is another way we can use this. You still have to draw your box because it is the box method. But instead of looking for our GCF, by looking at our rows and columns, we can write all 4 terms. We can pull all terms out of our box and write them in a line. So I would write 3x squared plus 1x minus 9x minus 3. So we are going to use a method that we call grouping. So we have 4 terms. So we're going to split this in half down the middle. So if I look at my first part, this is going to be my left side, this is my right side. So if I look at my left side, my GCF is x. So when I factor, I get 3x plus 1. That is because 3x times x is 3x squared. 1 times x is 1x. If I look at my right side, I want you to look at this. We have a negative 9x. Because that is negative, we have to pull a negative out. Then when we look at 9 and 3, my GCF is going to be 3. So in parentheses, we have 3x plus 1. And you should notice we have 3x plus 1 on both sides. That is a sign that we are going in the right direction. So now, oh, not there. So now what we're going to do is we rewrite this as our 3x plus 1. And then we're going to see what do we have left. We have an x left, and then we have a minus 3 left. So both ways will get you the proper factored form. Let's try another example. My a is 3, so we're going to draw the box. We fill the box in with ax squared, 3x squared. C, which is going to be 7. We have 2 empty spots, so we're going to use our x to help us figure out what goes there. A times c, 3 times 7 is 21. The bottom is b, that is a 10. And then we're thinking what 2 numbers multiply to 21, add to 10. That would be 3 and 7. So we have 7x, 3x. They are both positive. So we have 2 positive signs. I look at my first column. My GCF is 3x. I look at my second column. My GCF is 7. I look at my first row. My GCF is going to be x. My second row, 3x and 7 have nothing in common except for a 1. So this factor is going to be 3x plus 7 times x plus 1. Now, if we don't like using GCF and looking at the rows and columns, we can write everything out. So we write 3x squared plus 7x plus 3x plus 7. We draw a line down the middle. On my left side, my GCF is x. So we have 3x plus 7. On my right side, I first look at this x. It is positive. So we pull out a positive number. They have nothing in common except for 1. So we get 1 times 3x plus 7. And our factored form becomes 3x plus 7 times, we have, what do we have left over? We have an x and we have a plus 1. Let's do a third example. We draw the box, we fill it in with ax squared and our c. We use our x method to help us find out what goes in those empty spots. We are going to look at these x values. We're looking at, is it positive or negative? Positive 4x, we pull out a plus. Negative 5x, we pull out a negative. We look at our first column. What is the GCF? Look at the second column. What is our GCF? Now we're looking at our first row. Our second way of doing this is we're going to write everything out in one line. We split these up into our left side and right side. And that is our factored form. Something I want to call attention to is solve versus factor. When we have a factor, an example would be like x minus 2. When we solve, we're going to set that x minus 2 equal to 0. And our solution is x is equal to 2. Another example, what if we had 2x plus 1 and we had x plus 5? When we solve, we're going to set both sides equal to 0, both parts equal to 0. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. We use algebra and subtract 1 from both sides. So I get 2x equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 2. And I get x is equal to a negative 1/2. And x plus 5 equals 0. Therefore, x is equal to a negative 5. So there's a difference between factor this expression or solve this equation, find my solutions.